Welcome back to another Porsche car whisper video. I'm going to be doing another requested video this week. Shout out to you, Tom. I'm going to make it a little bit different. So I was asked to configure a Taycan with all the options that I would spec it with, but I'm actually going to set myself a limit. I'm going to do how would I spec a Taycan if I had $100,000 or less to spend. Let's go ahead and get into it. We are on the Porsche Taycan configurator. This is for the United States, so it may be slightly different for all my friends in Europe or across the world. So the car starts at $79,900, but you'll notice I have not put a single option on this car yet, and it's already at $81,250. What's up with that? Well, there's something called a destination charge. It's $1,350, so that automatically gets put onto the build of the car. That's why you'll see a little asterisk there when it says $79,900. Now, I'm still really excited about this because when the Taycan was first thinking about getting released, it was going to be $85,000 or more. So we're actually less than that. So I know a lot of us out there are very excited about this Taycan, and I'm excited to get my hands on it and also do a drive review for you guys. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and build one and try to keep it under $100,000. So I'm going to keep the color white for now because there's a lot more important options I feel like I need to add before I start changing my color. I know for a lot of you color is very important. We can always come back to that later, but I'm going to skip it for now. Wheels, I have to do it now. I'm not a huge fan of the standard wheels. They do have the lowest drag coefficient, but I'm going to go with a 21-inch aero wheels. So that's already going to add 2380 to our build. I think it looks killer and super sporty. But like now we're already up to 83,000. Wheel accessories, I'm going to skip that section. I'm going to keep the standard interior, so partial leather or leather seats. So of course, if you like the luxurious feel, I would recommend going with one of these full leather options. I love this black on Bordeaux red. I'll show you guys what that looks like just real quick. I think it looks fantastic, but for purposes of today's video, I'm going to skip that option as well. I'm just going to keep it the standard black. And now let's go ahead and keep going here. Seats, I always like to skip this on any car that I'm configuring because usually we're going to select a package and it's going to be part of that package. It usually saves us a lot of money when we make that package as well. So skipping the seats for now. Not going to do deviated seat centers. Again, I'm trying to keep myself on 100,000. Don't want to go into the weeds. Premium package. This is something I would definitely put on my Taycan. So it'll show you here everything that's going to be included. Fixed panoramic roof. PDLS headlights, I almost feel like I'm talking about that in every video I do. They swivel and they're brighter. I love those. See, so this is why we skip the seats. Comes with the 14-way seats, Bose surround sound, lane change assist, seat ventilation, surround view or a 360 cam. It's almost as if there's a bird on top of your car. Ambient lighting, you can change the color of the interior lighting, ionizer, and the storage package. So I would highly recommend adding this to a Taycan. I feel like in the long run, it's probably going to help any type of resale value because a lot of these times, a lot of this stuff you're probably going to spec on your car anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add to my selection. And this is where I can change or add anything else. So this is adding $7,080. I can also add PDLS plus headlights. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to add massaging seats. Bose, I'm not going to upgrade to the Burmester, even though that sounds fantastic, but also I'm going to go ahead and hit accept changes. It's kind of hard to see because my face is in the way, but let's keep moving on. So exterior, you can change the exterior sport design. I think it looks pretty cool. It actually changes the front bumper, side skirts, and the rear. Not doing it for this build. You'll see how it changes it kind of right here with a headlight. Also changes the side skirt portion. You'll see how that turns white. I'm going to unselect it again. Makes it a little bit more aggressive for sure. It also changes the back, adds this little flare here in the back, but I'm not doing it for $5,600 for purposes of today's build. So I'm gonna keep going down. I do like power folding mirrors. I think it's an awesome option to have, especially if you're parking in a very tight spot. It's only $330, so definitely adding that. I'm gonna keep skipping to the bottom here. Under door puddle light projectors, I like that option as well, but not doing it today. And we're gonna keep going here. I'm going to do the deletion of model designation. So that's just going to take the Taycan off of the back. I like it when it doesn't have the spec. I think it's a little bit classier look, so I'm going to go ahead and spec it with deletion of model designation. Now here we go into performance. So I like a sports car, so I like the electric sport sound for $500. I'm going to go ahead and add that. Something else I like is power, and I also like range. So range is not out yet officially through EPA. I know a lot of you out there maybe don't like the EPA just because they don't seem like they're very conservative with their numbers when they are testing a lot, especially a lot of our Porsches. But the Performance Battery Plus is probably going to get you about 300 miles, maybe a little bit more on the Taycan, and it'll give you more power. So I highly recommend doing this. I'm going to do it for this. I like to charge less, so I would highly recommend doing the Performance Battery Plus. Again, if you're not into super performance and it's just a day-to-day driver, you're not doing any long road trips on it, I would maybe not get that. That'll save you $5,700. Adaptive air suspension, I'm going to skip that. That's something that's standard on the Taycan 4S and all the other vehicles, Turbo as well as Turbo S. Raise and lower the car, stiffen the suspension. This car comes with the standard steel springs, and I'm going to keep it that way. Sports chrono package, I really like it, but I don't think it's as necessary on the Taycan as it is on a lot of our other vehicles. So I'm going to skip it. Again, that adds the dial for those of you, this is your first time watching me. So I'm going to go ahead and close the performance tab. Let's go to lights and vision. We've already added those LED headlights. That was part of the premium package here on the car. I'm going to skip these options. Some of these options I may add just because I think it makes it look a little bit sportier. But again, I'm trying to keep it under 100,000, and we're getting dang close. We're at 97,320 already. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to close the lights and vision tab. We're going to open up comfort and assistant systems. Adaptive cruise control, I'll talk about that in a later video, not adding it on this. I like to really drive my car, so I don't really use that often on any of our cars, to be honest with you. 2+1 seating, that adds a third seat in the back. I don't have kids, maybe if I did I would add it. It's not too bad for $480. GT steering wheel is another nice option to have, makes a little bit sportier feel, but I know I'm getting to 100,000 and I got a lot of options I will still want to add. So it has to do with charging. So I'm going to skip some of these items here. So I'm going to go ahead and close the interior. Oops, I'm going to close the interior portion. Interior leather, I'm not going to open that up. Racetex, wood, carbon fiber. That's just all the interior trim panels that will either be in leather, Racetex, wood, carbon fiber, or aluminum. Skipping all those sections. Going to move right down to audio communication. Passenger display, I like the passenger display. For those of you who have not seen my passenger display video, just to kind of see what kind of functionality it has, go ahead and check up the link up here. But I'm not adding that to today's build. We're going to unclick that. E-mobility, this gets pretty important. So some of these options you may want to add, some of these options you may not want to add, just kind of depends on if you kind of want to future-proof your Taycan or not. So power charge port door, it's a cool option, but we're not adding it today. Something that getting a lot of questions about, 19.2 kilowatt onboard AC charger. So this will help speed up your charging when you're charging at home, but there's a caveat to that, is you would have to have your mobile charger connect pretty much direct hardwired into your wiring panel, and most of us aren't probably going to do that. 19.2 is pretty fast. You're probably going to charge a Taycan in just over 5 hours with the appropriate output at your house. This will help future-proof it, and it will charge the vehicle faster overnight, as most people are probably going to do when they're charging their Taycan. But again, you're going to need some home alterations if you're going to be using this 19.2 kilowatt onboard AC charger. So I would probably add it just to help me future-proof my Taycan, but I'm going to talk about some of these other options real quick in e-mobility. 150 kilowatt onboard DC charger. It's going to help future-proof your Taycan as well. So this will, if you're at a 400 volt Electrify America station, it will help you speed up your charging. It'll actually convert it into 800 volts so you can decrease your time. It shaves, I believe it's about 13 seconds if you're at 13 minutes if you're at a 150 kilowatt charger. But there's not too many 150, 400 volt currently, but they're making more. So I would probably recommend adding this option for $460. It'll help you charge, especially if you're going on longer trips. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add to selection right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit exit. Porsche Intelligent Range Manager. I talked about this in another video. This is something I would just recommend. It helps you kind of optimize those long distance trips. So I'm definitely going to add it to my car. I plan on taking my Taycan on some trips. So I would recommend doing that. Now the Mobile Charger Connect, I would get that. Again, I did a video on the Mobile Charger Connect. Link will be up here above. But This has a really nice screen and helps you just optimize your charging. And again, if you get that 19.2 kilowatt onboard charger, you're probably going to want the mobile charger connect. Other than that, it's going to be doing 9.6 kilowatts if you're at the appropriate 240 volt, 50 amp outlet at your house. So that'll charge the Taycan in about 9.5, 10 hours. So again, for most of us, that'll probably be appropriate, as we're not going to be charging it from zero every night. And most of us are probably sleeping for 10 hours anyway. So that's why the 19.2 is kind of iffy. May not add it. Maybe you should add it if you're just zipping around and you're going to be close by and you don't want to wait that long for charging. Not going to be switching any of the supply cables. The car will come standard with a NEMA 1450, which is a pretty standard plug on a lot of our cars. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that. I believe a lot of Teslas and other vehicles have the NEMA 1450 if you're doing a little bit higher output charging at home. 25-foot cable. I would add this. For some of us, we may not know where we're going to be plugging in the Taycan and where we're actually going to be mounting this charger on the wall. And the 25-foot charging cable just helps extend it pretty significantly. If you purchase it after the fact, it's about $500. So why not just get it for a zero cost option? You can always put a zip tie on it or something to help it if you don't need the extra 25 feet, but I would highly recommend getting that. And that's pretty much going to wrap up my Taycan. So I talked about we were going to go talk about color earlier, and I'm actually going to switch the color. I do not want the standard white. I think it just looks slightly boring. So I'm going to go ahead and put Carrera White Metallic. It gives it a little bit more of a pearly, and it pops just a little bit more. Again, these are all great options. It just depends completely on how you want to build your Taycan. You want a little bit more performance-based, or do you want it to be a little bit more luxury-based? So again, if you have a little bit more than $100,000 to spend, I would maybe even change the color to something else. May go with the full leather interior, as it gives a really nice high-quality interior. Maybe I change the wheels. My favorite wheels are the Mission E wheels, and those are these guys right here. Go and spec it, but it's going to make you to get the PSCB brakes, so it adds a pretty significant amount to the car. But now we're at 105. To be honest, this looks like a turbo, and you really wouldn't know, or Turbo S, if somebody was just going by it. So I'm going to stick with this because I said I was going to keep this build at 100,000. It still put those brakes in there, so I should probably take those off. But that is pretty much how I would build my Taycan if I had $100,000 to spend. It's kind of getting just down to the nitty gritty of the options I would add. Again, the battery, the sport sound, I think that's really, really cool. And yeah, that's how I would build a Taycan. So if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I hope this was helpful. It's just kind of going through some of the options on the Taycan that we're all very excited to see here in the next month and a half or so, probably seeing them late March, early April. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.